place here, not bad. I mean, basic. You know, the only amenities is full hookups, and the main amenity is actually location. Especially if you want to be
Take the next
close.
left to stay on Brook Forest Road, then turn right to stay on Brook Forest Road.
Especially if you want to be close to the Atlanta International Airport. This is roughly half an hour away, 20 minutes even without traffic. So
we are going back to the North Georgia mountains, starting with Amicalola Falls State Park and then some more. For the next few days, we are going to be chasing waterfalls. I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. Well, here we are, Amicalola Falls State Park.
%25 grade.
Yep, it is probably the steepest hill I've ever towed Mini Teeny on.
I'm glad I came here in the Colorado era and not in the old Kia era, because old Kia would have had a very tough time climbing up that hill. But that's just beautiful bare country here, by the way. This is our site, very large site. We've got a fire pit, we have a picnic table, we have a charcoal grill. We've got water and electric, but it's going to freeze tonight, so I just connected the electric for now. Well, we have about 2 hours of sunlight left here, so let's try to see something. Here's the campground. Very nice. We're on site number 7.
Ooh, he's gonna have a hard time back in that toy hauler inn, isn't he? I'm going to drive here to the top of the falls, or as it is called, the upper observation platform. By all means, take your time. Beautiful views from up here, and we haven't even gotten to the falls yet. Such a breathtaking view from up here. This is the way to the approach trail and the hike-in trail. By the way, the approach trail refers to the Appalachian Trail, and the hike-in is a lodge only accessible by hiking 8 miles to it. One of these days I am going to do that, but I gotta get in shape first. I've got no problem in flat terrain, but definitely not used to hiking in the mountains. Tomorrow I am going to do the East Ridge Trail, which is that way. And someday I am going to hike to the Inn and Springer Mountain, the beginning of the Appalachian Trail. That's the pond at the bottom of the falls. Today I'm just going to do the West Ridge staircase, probably only to the halfway point, and then tomorrow I'll probably do the full hike. I find this type of landscape so beautiful, with all the fall colors all around us. I actually caught the last few days of the fall colors. The trees are losing their leaves real fast this time of the year, which is mid to late November. I keep going down, but in the back of my mind, I realize that every step down will be a step up on the way back.
I'm wondering how low should I go, because I have to come all the way back up, right? It's beautiful because we still have some fall colors here in late November. I keep going down and down. It did say how many steps, but none of the trails say the actual length in miles. So I'm gonna have to do some research tonight and assess which trails I really want to tackle tomorrow.
I'm just mesmerized at this beautiful landscape. I know y'all like my Florida videos, but I just love the mountains. I just love this area, which is so different.
The halfway point down there. Check it out, rainbow.
Let's just walk to this bridge here.
Pretty amazing, huh?
All right, guys, get over there.
To this midpoint, and I think this is all I'm gonna hike today because yeah, I had a heavy meal and I had to go back all the way up there. Tomorrow we'll just go all the way down, all the way down to the visitor center, or maybe we'll park at the visitor center and then we'll hike up. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but this is quite amazing. Beautiful waterfall, Amicalola Falls here in Georgia. Here we go, up the stairs,
Grandpa's taking a break.
non-stop. I came overdressed. It's not really that cold after you do all this exercise. Almost to the top. A mental note, don't do this after lunch.
I'm gonna go back to the visitor center because I wanna get a trail map and ask them a couple of questions, particularly about the trail that goes to the inn or the one to Springer Mountain.
The visitor center.
Maybe I can make a fire. So I did ask them, and it is too long a hike to do a round trip in one day, apparently.
Okay, this one has a distances. Well, perhaps one of these days I will be crossing this arch right here on my way to Springer Mountain and eventually Mount Katahdin, Maine. I'll settle for Springer Mountain for now. I believe it's 8 miles, but it is like a 2-day trip.
Well, we've had enough fun for one day, haven't we? Tomorrow, I will do the full stairs and then I'll walk down on the East Ridge Trail. The sun is about to set anyways. It froze last night, and the truck is all full of ice.
Whoa. Ice, ice, baby.
So many fallen leaves.
Well, good morning, everybody. Greetings from Amicalola Falls State Park here in Georgia. And it is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which means it's 0 Celsius. And it was supposedly, it dipped down to the 20s last night. And that is evident by the frost here on the Colorado, which may be a common occurrence for you guys, but for this Miami man, it's rather rare to see the vehicle like that. Anyway, I haven't plugged in my water yet. I'm treating it like a European RV because I was afraid it might freeze, and it probably would have. Anyways, we're gonna do the big hike now. Okay, something about this truck that I don't really like, and maybe some of you have noticed the same thing with this truck. Low gear is pretty much useless. I mean, I could be in low gear, but it still goes. So there's not much of a engine braking. Perhaps I should have gotten the diesel. Now that I think about it. Anyways, it's beautiful out here this morning. Beautifully cold. Well, today we're gonna do it. I mean, not the whole Appalachian Trail, of course, but at least the top of the falls. They have a shelter for hikers for the Appalachian Trail, which that'd be cool. Let's do the top of the falls. Okay, that's the East Ridge. No, I want to take the stairs. This is the one. I forgot to bring my hiking shoes. Oh well. I just spoke to a very nice gentleman, coincidentally from Miami, and he confirmed that this is probably the stairs Just a walk in the woods, right?
Wow, it is so pretty out here. This is the kind of place that usually you can only see by taking a short hike like this one.
Well, I guess they do want to discourage you, huh?
Yep, no swimming in the creek.
Well, it's a beautiful creek. Let's go to the top of the falls. Should be through here. Well, don't be fooled by the apparent wilderness. There is another parking lot here. This is what they call the reflecting pool. Oh, check that out.
That's it. Famous Amicalola Falls in all its splendor.
Safety and enjoyment, please remain on marked trails and structures. So it begins.
Alright, let's begin our little hike here.
How unromantic of them. There aren't any anyways, this time of the year. Lots of leaves though. Everywhere you look, there's something beautiful. Which, by the way, it's a little bit of a strenuous trail, and I'm not totally out of shape. I do a jog in the morning in South Florida, you know. Our biggest hill is like a landfill. And here, you know, a little bit of a high altitude, going uphill. I'm getting a little out of breath. We'll see how I do on the stairs now. Very strange experience, very different experience from yesterday. It was late in the day and this whole place was crawling with tourists. But now it's just me and a couple more people. Beautiful. But check this out. Only 175 steps. Somehow I find that kind of misleading. But check it out.
Yep, it is 175 to the bridge crossing to the other side.
Yesterday I only made it to that bridge. Let's do it. Nothing has ever been written about cowards, right? Well, Amicalola Falls State Park here, definitely worth visiting. Not only because of the falls, because of the natural beauty of this place. I had no idea. And if you come, don't just do the stairs up and down and leave. This is one of the side trails that goes to a parking lot, like the halfway point. And look at that. I mean, all around us, there's beauty, and there's not a cloud in the sky. You know, it's one of those perfect weather days. It was really cold this morning, but now it's pleasant. I guess because I've been exercising too. But yeah, definitely. And this time of the year, with the leaves still kind of turning, you know, a lot of leaves are falling, but whatever leaves are still in the trees are beautiful, beautiful colors. All right, I'm gonna do the rest of the stairs now, and remember to remain on the marked trail.
This is actually the West Ridge Falls Access Trail, probably around a quarter mile in length, but I'm guessing here, of course. By the way, the surface of the trail is kind of rubbery, and that's because it was made out of recycled tires. Pretty cool, huh? Sustainable.
Yeah, no wonder it feels kind of rubbery.
This particular trail is also ADA compliant, which means it is accessible to people with disabilities, hence the rubber floor. And there's the lodge up there. Maybe we'll go later. Alright, let's do the rest of the stairs. The same segment we did yesterday afternoon.
Made it to the top. We've been victorious. Yeah, 425 plus the 160, was it? I don't know how much it is in total. It's a lot. I wish I had come prepared for this one, because this is another trail eventually that we want to do. At least the hiking trail. And one of these days, the AT approach trail, which is like 8.5 miles one way, so kind of rough to do it. Oh my gosh. I'm getting muscle fatigue here. Pretty rough to do it on one day, so I would have to get a tent and camp somewhere. All right, this is as far as I'm gonna go, because you're supposed to check in at the visitor center if you do wanna do this trail. So one of these days. Well, the one that I'm gonna do is the East Ridge Trail. Let's do it. So it begins. For this one I should have brought my hiking shoes, but I'll survive. The Nikes might not, but I will. Such beauty. Very amazing. Yeah, definitely. Oops. Definitely. Couple just asked me, "Are we there yet?" I told them, "You still got a pretty long way to go," which is true. I mean, it feels like I've been going downhill forever. tomorrow I'm not gonna be able to feel my legs, or either that or they're gonna hurt like crazy. But this was totally worth it. I mean, yeah, I'm still in awe. Check out that tree. I wonder what evolutionary process gave this tree its current shape. That's really cool. And sometimes I forget to look up, but it's a beautiful view on the top as well. Yeah, very interesting looking tree back there. Oh, the leaves are falling. All the trees, the leaves are falling. I feel like singing the autumn leaves, but then I will get a copyright strike, so I won't. And we've made it to the arch.
They have a nice convenience store here at the visitor center, and this display here with the flora and the fauna of the area. Some GPS units here for more serious hikers, and more displays.
All right, Amicalola Falls State Park, totally worth it. Beautiful, beautiful place. If you're like me, that you like the mountains, you know. And I've had this fixation with the Appalachian Trail for a long time. So even though I'm not in the physical shape or state of mind to do at least a section of the AT yet, at least I made it here. And if as I say, if we decide to move to this area at some point in life, it would be great to do this once in a while as training. I mean, the lady at the visitor center recommended that I go to the lodge, and they have a new veranda where you can see for miles. So I'm going to do that, and I'm kind of hungry. I skipped breakfast with the whole purpose, you know, to be able to do this hike. So either I'm going to eat at the restaurant at the lodge, or I'm going to make me something in the RV. Check it out. Beautiful, beautiful drive up this hill.
Here we are, the Amicalola Falls Lodge. Cool, at the lobby here they have this huge map of the Appalachian Trail. And there's the view from the veranda.
It's amazing.
It is kind of funny and ironic at the same time, because last fall I spent a whole road trip kind of near this area, chasing the fall colors, and of course everything was still green. And now, without really expecting it, I catch the end of the season here. Let's go back inside and get some lunch.
Well, lunch with a view. And IPA with a view as well. Well, it's no longer that cold, so I'm gonna open the window here. The buffet was pretty good. They had like a roast beef au jus, and they had fried chicken breast, which was, you know, I love fried chicken. So, and I had a Lazy Hiker IPA. I mean, the whole thing was $22 and change with the IPA plus tip. And what I do at these buffets, you know, because you know they put the cheapest, most filling stuff at the beginning. They usually go backwards, and I start at the end of the buffet and work my way to the cheaper stuff. So I started with the fried chicken, the roast beef. Oh, they had some broccoli with cheese sauce. That was amazing. The mashed potatoes were okay. They had asparagus too. And dessert, of course. I was gonna cook something in the RV, but I decided let's get something tasty. Let's sample the local cuisine, if you will. All right, let's go back to the campground. Well, I got a new sticker at the gift shop down there. It's the Appalachian Trail. It doesn't really say Amicalola Falls State Park, but anyway, this is the gateway to the Appalachian Trail, so that's one of them. And then I remembered that I have here from Lucky Dog Productions and Element Van Life, fellow YouTubers. And this one I got at south of the border. I don't know, this is kind of bright, so I don't know if I'm gonna put it. I could always remove it if I don't like it later. I'm gonna start by putting the Appalachian Trail, and I think since it's in Georgia, I'm gonna put it right next to the Stone Mountain campground. That looks good there. Element Van Life is gonna go right here, right next to Camper Van Kevin. This is not a grid anymore as it used to be. Maybe you can see, between Adventure Van Man and Camper Van Kevin, somewhere around here. Yeah, it's not a grid anymore. And then Lucky Dog, and go here. And then we'll start like another, area. Yeah, because this is too low. So I'm gonna put Lucky Dog right here. How does this work? And finally, what to do with south of the border. Under pneumatic, maybe? Yeah, sure, why not? We'll put it under pneumatic. Between pneumatic and Winnebago. We keep adding stickers.
We've got quite the collection now. Some pretty rare, actually.
Well, I took a break. I think we've done all the trails that I was planning to do on this park. So what I'm gonna do, let's visit some of the nearby towns.
Well, here we are, Dahlonega, and this red brick building is the old courthouse.
Well, here we are, Dahlonega, and I just learned it is pronounced that way, so if I mispronounced it earlier, I apologize. They also say Appalachian instead of Appalachian here, so we'll go with that. Let's explore the town a little bit.
Very, very cute downtown here with restaurants and antique shops, boutiques.
Oh, Dahlonega here, unexpectedly charming. The museum is $8.50, so I'm gonna skip it for now. I'm just gonna walk around and eventually maybe do a wine tasting at one of the wineries. Although I'm still full from the buffet, so I don't know. Thank you. And people are looking at me weird because I'm holding a camera in front of my face.
This was the site of the first US gold rush, and apparently the heart of Georgia wine country. I was looking forward to tasting some wine at one of the tasting rooms, but it looks like everybody is closing shop early. You see, as I film this, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so today is probably not the best day to be here. As usual, my timing is impeccable, or impeccably wrong in this case. Still, very pleasant, delightful small downtown here. I'm glad I came, and the weather could not be better. Although the declining sun is giving a little bit of a chill to the air. Let's walk a little bit here off the beaten path. Wow, would you look at that tree and those impossibly bright red colors? Amazing! Well, as you can see, everything is either closed or closing down early, so I am going to call it a night. I have a podcast to record anyways. Okay, one last look at the falls before we go, now that it is magic hour. Tomorrow morning, we're going somewhere else.
And like that, another day comes to an end.
It is now time for This is Living the RV Dream, episode 78 for Black Friday, November 23rd, 2018. I'm riding in my RV, wherever I